Hello everyone, so today we are checking out the Tech 21 Flyrig5 Brit version. Now the first model ever released was just called the Flyrig5. It was based on a plexi type tone for the distortion section. Soon after it was followed by the Richie Kotzen signature version, and earlier this year, or was it late last year, they announced two newer versions, which is the Brit version and the Cali version. Now the Brit version is self-explainable, it's based on a much more British type of a tone. Now for those of you who are not familiar with the Flyrig, it's built to be a one-stop solution and a very portable one for those who need just very basic effects to get through their daily performances. Now it comprises of three sections. You have the main section, which is the Sans amp, which is basically your preamp. It has a 3-band EQ, drive and a level, and it also has a reverb built into this section. Now I'll talk more about this later. Let's now move forward to the most straightforward sections, which is the distortion side and the delay side. So on the distortion side, it's very simple. Again, you got your level, you got your tone, and you have the amount of drive you want to dial in, followed by another foot switch to dial in more boost. Now this boost is placed before the distortion, so engaging this boost will actually add more gain onto your tone. So what you can do is you can set two levels of distortion, so you can maybe dial in a relatively low amount of drive in the first section, and if you need more drive for solos and stuff like that, you can boost that drive section by activating this foot switch. On the other side, you have a delay section, which also has a tap tempo, which is really handy, so you can tap the time of the delay according to the song that you're playing to. And besides the level, repeats and time, you have something that's called a drift control. Now the drift control adds a modulation to the repeats of the delay, so you can get a very chorusy type of tone. You can also escape by having a sort of fake chorus tone by reducing the time and the repeats of the delay and just pushing up the drift knob. So now we're going to go through some of the tones that this pedal has to offer. So what I have hooked up is I have a Les Paul going into the Brit, and this is in turn going into an Electro Harmonix 44 Magnum power amp. I figured I didn't want this running in front of any particular amp because I want to keep the tone as neutral as possible. So what I've done with the settings is I have set the Sans amp section to be sort of a mild overdrive tone, and then I'm just going to play through some random things on the distortion section. So let's check that out. what's really nice about this pedal is I really enjoy that even with the drive really up high, you can actually just tame the tone by rolling back the volume knob on your guitar. So you can kind of get a very distorted tone followed by a semi-clean tone just by rolling back the volume knob. So you don't need to keep on turning the pedal on and off. Also, one thing to note for everyone who buys this pedal is there's a lot of range in the tone knob. So it'd be great if you really explore this one knob because it ranges from getting really bright tones or flat tones all the way to really cutting almost all the treble. Now another excellent point in the Flyrig is if you do not have an amplifier or a power amp to go through a speaker cabinet, you can actually run this through right into a mixer or directly into your audio interface. But in order to get a good tone from the distortion section, you will have to have the SansAmp section turned on. So essentially it turns on a speaker sim on the output of the pedal. So what you're going to hear me do next is I'm going to plug this directly into my Audient ID14 interface, and I'm going to show you the tone difference with and without the SansAmp to give you an idea of how essential the SansAmp is when you're running it into a mixer or an audio interface. So there you go, that's the tones that are on offer from the Flyrig Brit. It is so small, so easy to carry around. It is literally about 11 or 12 frets wide. It is powered by a 12-volt adapter which is included in the package. It will sound great no matter what application you choose to use it for. You can use it as your main rig, your main tone, or you can have it as a backup. So if you have a main pedal board, you can just have this chucked into your bag, or you can have this running with an amp or even without an amp directly into the PA system, mixer, audio interface, whatever you want. So there you go, hope you enjoyed the video. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe for more content, and stay tuned as I take a look at the Richie Kotzen signature version and also the Cali version. On a side note, the Brit and the Cali versions have been discontinued by Tech21 and there's no particular reason at the moment. So if you really love the tone of this, it is best that you get one as quick as possible before they run out of stock. See you again real soon.